My 9/11 story. I'll be very brief. Today is a somber day. Everything that's happening in the world, the events of the world, not going to repeat. Everybody knows what's going on. And obviously, it's 9/11. And one good thing that did happen this week for me personally was that for those of you that actually look at my posts on YouTube, not Rumble, because I don't know if they're able to do that yet. I actually got to touch a piece of like one of the towers from 9/11, which is very spiritual for me because I lived through that. But I've never actually I got to see a piece and talk to firefighters that were actually there. And one of the reasons they had that piece is because they were taking it to an elementary school, and they wanted the kids that are 7, 8, 9 years old that hadn't been born yet, obviously, to get to see history, right? When you get to actually touch something, that's something that they're gonna remember for the rest of their lives. You might not remember certain lessons, certain things they learn day by day, but there's always something that you can, that you're gonna remember. And that's a day for me that in high school, I remember very clearly. That's the one event that I can pinpoint. This is the day, 9/11/2021. This is where I was. This is what I was doing when the Twin Towers situation happened. So I was in ninth grade. I was in math class. I was one of those typical math teachers back in those days. Millennials know what I'm talking about. Teachers are different nowadays, but he was a kind of a nerdy guy, 5'8", 5'9", a little bit short, and had glasses. Was really kind of like that. I don't want to say certain people. I don't want to say small hat people. I'll say it like that. Just one of those people that just looks like a math nerd, math whiz. And even said he would always tell us, oh yeah, the reason why I'm teaching is because I believe in making a change in the world. There aren't enough math and science teachers, so they always pay bonuses for that. That was back in the day. That was in the early 2000s. So when the first tower got hit, it was no big deal. People just thought it was an accident. And then when the second tower got hit, that is when people started freaking out. And I'm from New York City originally. I live in the New York City area. I went to high school in Rhode Island, a place called Cranston West High School. It is what it is. Not like anybody can dox me. But I was in kind of in the middle of nowhere at the time, Western Cranston, Rhode Island, kind of countryish, and people weren't like, oh, anything's gonna happen here. So we're like, okay, those attacks happened in New York City. I was a little nervous. All my classmates were a little nervous. But then a few hours later, what happened is one of the planes fell in the middle of nowhere. I think it was North Carolina or Virginia. It was on the way to the Pentagon, but we didn't know at the time. We just thought that they were just basically planes were flying out of the sky and just randomly hitting things after they hit the two towers. So after that, I actually had to go. I was a really nervous kid, single mother raised. I was very, very scared, and they took me to this school psychiatrist's office or counselor. I forgot what it was called back then. But I had to go talk to them, and after we relaxed and we breathed, and she told me to relax. It's okay. Everything's gonna be fine. I felt a little better, but there was still this anxiety because we had no idea what was going on. We later found out at night that everything has subsided. The planes that were going to crash certain places, they already did it. I think it was days later we found out that the reason why the plane crashed in the middle of nowhere was because a few people on the flight fought the people that the terrorists that had taken over the plane and forced it to land before it could hit the Pentagon. That wasn't a Pentagon that got hit. Before it could hit the ground, before it could get to where it was going to. I think that there was the Twin Towers and the Pentagon, and they said that plane that crashed in the middle of nowhere was on its way to the White House or something like that. And then President Bush was in the air, and people were telling us, oh, he's the safest man on the planet right now, just flying around, And the most surreal thing that a lot of people hopefully will never have to experience in their life is the following 3 days. That was the craziest part of it. We don't really talk about this in history. So there was 3 days that no planes could fly. No planes were taking off. No planes could land. And when I went to school every day in the morning, I took the school bus with my little brother. Actually, this was when I was a freshman. He was in 7th grade. Yeah, later on, we would take the school bus together. But that year, I would walk to school, and every morning, I lived in an area where you would see planes taking off and landing, taking off and landing. So for 3 days, that's something I'll never forget. There were just 0 planes taking off and landing. None. Just dead silence while we waited for the bus. I mean, the good thing is that nowadays we don't have a holiday, because that we were taught, at least, that the reason why we didn't make it a holiday because we don't want the terrorists to know that they won, that we want to keep living our lives. This is 9/11, right? We want to make sure that they know that they can't stop us as Americans. And I just want to end by saying that a lot of the stuff that's happening now, like for example, the real ID, that's because of 9/11. For a lot of Gen Z that don't know, the reason why we have a real ID situation, federal ID I call it, is because they want to make sure that people that go on flights and everything are safe, right? That there's no terrorist attacks. They make sure that everybody is pre-checked before that, and they know that through a federal ID system. And Edward Snowden, big crypto, I'll tie this into crypto. A lot of blockchain is into crypto, Bitcoin, borderless. Anybody can use it, anybody can own it, anybody can buy or sell it. The reason he's in Russia is because there was increased spying because of the Patriot Act that was signed because of 9/11. So just understand that everything is tied in together to the way we live our lives today. And with that being said, I just wanted to let you guys know about what happened, 9/11, and again, somber day all around for everybody. Lots of events taking place that are horrible. But we have to keep living our lives. And one thing 9/11 has taught us is that we're Americans, or wherever you may be. We're citizens of the world, and we got to stay strong, stick together through times, thick and thin, and just keep going through. Make it through everything together.